Now here's your host, Bill Teegins.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Eddie Sutton Show. The Cowboys are 11-6 on the season and coming off one of the most exciting weeks of the college basketball season. Coach, your team is really playing well. A tough loss at Michigan State, but you come back and beat Oklahoma to go 1-1 in the conference. But boy, in that 3-day span, some great basketball.
Bill, we played much better this past week than we played all year. In fact, this is the way I thought our team would play all season. I just hope that we can continue to play at that level. We lost a tough one at Michigan State. A young man hadn't hit a three-point shot all season, threw one in with about 6 seconds to go to beat us 70-69. And then our guys came back last Monday evening and won a big game over the University of Oklahoma. That's always a very special game. And this one was a game that was well played by both ball clubs.
Well, we're going to get into the details of these in a moment, but you started Scott Pierce against Oklahoma. He did a great defensive job, also scored some big points. He really came through for you.
Well, Scott Pierce is a senior, and he's a young man that I felt all along would be in the starting lineup. And, of course, he broke a finger early in the year, and he was out for 4 weeks. He came back. I think he tried to rush it a little bit. He lost some confidence. But we judge everything on you know, how well a player performs in practice, how much he gets to play. And Scott, the last couple of weeks, has really been coming on, and one of the keys in the ball game was to try to slow down Ryan Miner, the leading scorer in the Big Eight. And Scott Pierce accepted that challenge and just went out and did a terrific job.
Well, some great basketball to show you. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, it'll be Michigan State and Oklahoma when the Eddie Sutton Show continues. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Eddie Sutton Show. We talked about some great basketball. We're going to go to Michigan State. It's a hard place to get to, but boy, what a great facility there.
I called their athletic director after I got back this week and told her that I felt like that it was probably as first class as any place we'd played in the last several years. The facility's outstanding, but everything connected with it, the ushers and just the way you were treated. And I thought their fans were very enthusiastic, but certainly they were not rude in any manner, and of course it was a sellout, over 15,000 people.
National television again on CBS, and your team came out from the very beginning in this game, Coach, and I thought we're really pumped up and ready to play.
We played the best game, in my opinion, on the road up to this point in the season. Control the tempo, really displayed some patience at the offensive end. Gave the offense a chance to get the ball inside to Bryant Reeves. There's a good penetrating dribble by Andre Owens. And when the help came, well, he dished it off. And we led early in the ball game. It ended up at halftime. They had a 2-point lead. But it was back and forth. And both teams played well.
Well, we always talk about Country being a warrior inside. We mentioned that on the radio a lot. But I don't think there's any doubt that Andre Owens over the last 2 games has improved immensely.
He certainly has. I think he had 12 assists in the 2 games this week, but he scored 8 points in this game, but he hit double figures in the game with Oklahoma. And there you can see Randy Rutherford hitting a 3-pointer.
He had 5 of those in that game.
We probably faced the best guard combination in college basketball, at least one of the best, in Snow and Respert. Respert has a chance, I guess, to be the all-time scorer. He'll be probably a lottery pick, a great shooter. There's a guy that's really starting to play well for us, Terry Collins. He's defended well, and he's just improved in all areas of the game.
There's Scott Pearson we talked about earlier. He played very well against Michigan State.
Well, I thought our whole team played well, except for there was about a 3 or 4 minute stretch there late in the second half. There's Keontae Roberts driving the basket, and that's one of the things he does well is when we can get him penetrating, slashing to the hoop. Well, he's a better basketball player, and I think it helps him in all the other areas of the game. There again is Andre driving, forcing the help situation, dishing it off to Jason Scare.
Nice to see a freshman like that, Jason, come in and perform like that. Then Owens turns around and hits a couple of trays.
As I said, we hit that one stretch there late in the second half and turned the ball over, I think, 2 or 3 times and allowed them to get back in the game. But our guys held their poise well. And we came back and ran an out-of-bounds play, and Randy hit a 3-pointer to tie the score, and then Andre made a real good steal, a good defensive play, and went down, and we got up 2 points. And then they came back and hit the tray.
Your defense was very good in this game, too. Respert's a great player. You talked about that, but I thought overall you probably played him pretty well.
Well, you got to keep Michigan State off the free throw line, and that's one thing we were able to do. And Respert, I think, is leading the Big Ten in scoring. He's averaging about 26 points a ball game. But he is a tremendous basketball player.
You're at the 10-minute mark. You're up by about 7.
Yeah, that's what I said. The first 30 minutes of this ball game, we probably played as well as we're capable of playing.
Great follow there by Country.
Great tip in by Bryant.
He had 18 points in that game.
10 rebounds, led our ball club in that area. Both teams total 29 rebounds. One of the areas that we're still having problems with in both these games is too many second opportunities by the opposition. We've been giving too many offensive rebounds, and that's something we've got to correct.
Now we're getting down to the final stages of the game, and some weird things happen
There's
here.
the out-of-bounds play we set up, and Randy knocked it home to tie the score. And Michigan State displays a lot of poise and a lot of patience here. They come down, and there's the defensive play by Andre.
There's the goaltending.
I thought there was a foul right there. He gets knocked down. They called goaltending, but it was a no call. But we're up 2 points with the shot clock off at this point. You see great enthusiasm on the bench. We defend this play real well. Look, now the ball just gets knocked out there.
He's the guy you'd want to shoot that 3.
Well, you know, the coaching staff of Michigan State had told him earlier they didn't want him shooting any threes, but I'm sure now they'll let him shoot one occasionally.
And again, Andre comes down, just loses his footing, did what you wanted him to do, and they get the ball up court.
And you see me congratulating Judd Heathcote, a longtime friend, and this is his last year at Michigan State. He'll be retiring, and then, of course, they'll return next year to Gallagher-Iba, so that's going to be a quality opponent. And we have a hard time finding good teams to come to our home facility, but they will be returning the ball game. But terrific college game, and national television audience, they got their money's worth.
And then it wasn't any rest at all, because Monday night it was Bedlam basketball at Gallagher-Iba. Boy, what a great turnout this was. You knew the fans would be there. You knew they'd be pumped up, but they really helped you.
Well, they certainly did. You know, it's a neat place at Gallagher-Iba to coach in if you're on the bench of the home team, and there's Terry Collins getting the first basket of the game. I said it before so many times. I've been very fortunate in coaching in some places where the home team does have a tremendous home court advantage. When I coached 11 years at Arkansas, we lost 8 home games in that entire 11-year period, and only 5 over, I think, the last decade. We lost 3 that first year, and then, of course, at Kentucky, they've got the big arena. But Gallagher-Iba was as tough as either one of those places. And the crowd the other night was just marvelous. We're going to see a feature by Tom and Wade a little later in the show.
That's a pretty good shot by Ryan Miner, but he really had to work hard for every shot he got.
Scott Pierce did a tremendous job defensively on him. Keontae Roberts came in, covered him for about 10 minutes, and he too did a good job. It was hard to get a shot off at both ends of the court, and there you see Scott Pierce. Oklahoma was sloughing off, doubling up on Bryan, and that left the area in the high post open, and Scott Pierce came in, and he scored in double figures. Best game that Pierce has played since coming to Oklahoma State.
You had 5 players in double figures in that game.
That doesn't happen very often. At least it hasn't happened with this ball club. There again is a great penetrating drive by Owens, and we look at it again, and draws the defense to him, kicks it off to Jason Scare, and he lays it up.
Can't do it much better than that.
Yeah, we had 5 players scoring double figures, and I think that's the first time that we've had that this year. The 5 starters all got double figures. There's Keontae Roberts hitting about a 17-footer.
Boy, Randy, I tell you what, he didn't even get real good looks sometimes and let it fly.
Well, Oklahoma, too, they too played very good defense. Like I said, it was hard just to get a shot off. It reminded me a lot of the games that we've had with Kansas the last few years, but where the man defense is just terrific. And of course, they switched their defense and went to a box and one, and put their fine freshman Fowler on Randy, and he was limited to a certain number of shots. I think he only got up 15 shots in the game.
You're up by 4 at the half. Great defense here. You get the steal. Boy, Terry's done a nice job on that this year. I
think Terry has scored in double figures either the last 4 or 5 games, and like I said, he's really playing well. There's Bryant Reeves picking up his 4th foul, and those are the kind of fouls you got to eliminate. He just didn't move his feet. It was a proper call, and now we're playing without Bryant for about 10 or 11 minutes, but our guys stepped forward and really showed what they're made of, and that's Andre Owens hitting one of his 3-point shots.
Obviously, you don't want to play without Reeves, but your guys on a couple occasions this year have come through and really done a great job when he's been forced to the bench.
I think he was forced to the bench in foul trouble against Texas A&M back in December, and our team did play well. And again, last Monday evening against the Sooners, they just really sucked it up and did a good job.
Randy with 17 points, 3 trays. Again, one of 5 Cowboys in double figures. You have Pierce coming through for you from outside. Andre hit a couple of big threes. And here's Mr. Pierce.
I'd like to see more of that. John Nelson got in, got a good putback.
Well, it's nice to see so many guys contributing.
When Bryant came back in, a lot of people probably would have second-guessed me. Oklahoma made a run at us, and I put him back in with about, I think, 9 minutes to go in the ball game, and he could have fouled out. And had he done so, they probably would have said, well, you put him back in too early. But I just felt like that Oklahoma had gained the momentum, and when Bryant did come back in, he really played much better. You're going to see right here a good, quick move, turnaround jump shot.
When he's on, that's an automatic too, isn't it?
That's his best shot. When he, there's another one there, and there's a great follow shot by Terry Collins. For any young player might be watching, when you see a shot go up and you're assigned to go to the offensive board, if it's shot on one side of the court, you want to get to what we call the weak side board, because normally that shot's going to come off, and that's exactly what happened when Collins tipped that one in.
Bryant had 4 at halftime, finishes with 13, and as you said, made some big shots down the stretch. Maiden played pretty well.
Maiden certainly did play well for Oklahoma. That's Anches, and I can't say enough about Andre. Andre really did a good job defensively on him. We were talking about Pierce and Keani covering the minor, but Andre just made a great steal right there. He had 6 steals in the game.
He's really got quick hands, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. He got quick feet, too. And there's Minor fouling Randy to prevent the layup.
Again, Randy finishing with 17 points with 6 of 7 from the free throw line.
One of the differences of the ball game, I mentioned that both teams played well defensively, but we only turned the ball over 8 times, and we forced them into 18 miscues, and I think that was a big. There's a good defensive play by Andre. The Anches drove to the basket, he moved over, and he drew the charge.
Here we're at the very final stages of the game. A big win for the Cowboys, 72-64 the final, and
I think that was our 3rd straight win over the University of Oklahoma. And of course, anybody that lives in Oklahoma realizes that when the two teams get together, they call it the Bedlam series, and it truly was that way Monday night. But it's always nice to beat OU.
That was really an important game for you. You were 0-1 in the conference going in, so you hate to talk about must-win situations at this point of the season, but boy, what a great win and a little momentum builder, hopefully.
I think every game from now on is a must-win for us to get back in this league race, but it's still a wide-open affair. Everyone in the conference now has lost at least 1 game, so it's early in the year, and right now I think the University of Missouri and Kansas are leading with 2-1 records, and then there's about 4 other teams, I believe, that are 1-1. So it's going to be a terrific Big 8 race.
Well, we talked about Gallagher-Iba and how fun that place is to watch basketball, to coach if you're for the Cowboys. When we come back, we'll take a closer look at Gallagher-Iba Arena when the Eddie Sutton Show continues. Welcome back. The Cowboys have a great record under Eddie Sutton, but especially at Gallagher-Iba Arena, such an emotional building, a tough place to play basketball if you're an opposing team, and when the Sooners come into town, the emotions are turned up even more. Wade Pearson and Tom Dirato have a special look at Gallagher-Iba in our Off the Court feature.
The numbers tell the whole story. 12 straight wins overall, 54 in a row over non-conference opponents, 58-4 since Eddie Sutton returned to Stillwater, 84-8 over the last 6 seasons. Gallagher-Iba Arena shows no mercy when it comes to visiting teams. This tradition-rich building is 57 years old this year, but the excitement, the winning, and the magic lives on.
You know you make me wanna kick my heels up and throw my hands up and throw my head back and come on now. Don't forget to say you will. Don't forget to say yeah. Say you will. Say it right now, baby. Say you will. Come on. Say you will. Say that you will. Say that you love me. Say that you need me. Say that you want me. Say you wanna please me. Say come on now. Say come on now. Say come on now. I still remember when you used to be 9 years old. I want you to know. I said I want you to know right now. You've been good to me, baby. Better than I've been to myself. Hey, hey, and if you ever leave me, I don't want nobody else. Hey, hey, I said I want you to know. I said I want you to know right now. You know you make me wanna. Yeah, 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 right. All right, all right. Come on now, come on now. Yeah, 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 yeah. Come on now, yeah, yeah, yeah. Come on now, yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, yeah, yeah, yeah. Now wait a minute.
A great piece by Tom and Wade. You know, when you watch that, if you're a basketball player, you got to get excited. That's the kind of atmosphere that makes college basketball something special, and I hope it's that way Sunday afternoon when we host the Missouri Tigers.
You know, Chris Harrison from our staff at Channel 9 had never attended a game at Gallagher-Iba, so he was at the OU-OSU game. He said he's never seen anything like it.
Well, it's one of the special places, I guess, in the country. I know people that come in, other media people, and they see it for the first time when it was rocking like it was the other night, and they say that, hey, it is something special.
Yeah, and we need you on Sunday when Missouri's in town, and we'll take a look at what's ahead for the Cowboys and the rest of the Big 8 Conference when the Eddie Sutton Show continues. Welcome back to the Eddie Sutton Show, and as we talked about, the Missouri Tigers come to Gallagher-Iba, but that game is not till Sunday. You've got a 6-day span between games. Do you like that in the schedule?
Well, I think it gives you an opportunity maybe to go back and have a couple of really tough practices and go back to the basic fundamentals, and that's what we have done really this week, going back and just going to the very basics like we did back in November. So from that standpoint, it's good. I don't think you'll lose any of your edge by having that layoff. And we let them off on Tuesday. The NCAA makes you let the team off 1 day a week, and they only let you practice 20 hours a week. 4 hours the maximum each day that you could practice. So we really only had Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in preparation for the Tigers.
We talked earlier about the standings and how this thing has really turned into a great race. It's only the early stages, but everybody's got at least one loss, so it's going to be interesting when this thing finally unfolds.
Yeah, let's take a look at it. You can see there are two teams that are 2-1, Missouri and Kansas, and I've said 4 teams tied at 1-1, but there's actually 5, and then K-State's in the cellar. But look at that record. In non-conference play, or overall, up to this point, 87-17, the 8 schools against non-conference opponents, and you can see the home record is still holding up. 8-2 thus far in the year. The only 2 people that won on the road, Missouri beat Nebraska and Lincoln, and the Jayhawks went to Iowa State the other night and beat the Cyclones. So that home court means a great deal, and I think anybody that watches college basketball can see the intensity level has risen considerably since everybody started conference play.
And, of course, there's a lot still to go, and here's what's coming up on Saturday.
This is the schedule this week. Iowa State at Kansas State, Kansas at Colorado, Texas at Oklahoma on Saturday, and then, of course, tomorrow we play the Tigers. And Nebraska plays at Kansas, big Monday. Midweek next week, Colorado's at Missouri, Oklahoma's at Kansas State, Iowa State at Northern Iowa. And again, next week we've got a long period of time before we travel to Colorado.
How about Missouri Tigers? This is a team that's obviously had a great year last year. You look at their stats, maybe not all that impressive, but boy, they know how to win games.
Well, they got a great coach in Norm. He does an outstanding job, and they lost some good players, and I don't think anyone thought that Missouri would have the record they do at the present time, but they have really played tough, and they've won some quality non-conference games on the road, and they went to Lincoln and beat the Cornhuskers, and that's a big chore. They still have a very good shooting ball club, and they're led by Olini, but they've got about 3 guys who can really knock down the trays. They recruited a couple of young men that played over here at Connors, the Haley twins, both 7-footers, and they seem to be doing an excellent job for them inside. But the Tigers play tough man defense. They know how to take care of the basketball, and they always play hard. So we've had some great games with Missouri. In fact, I think last year we probably got them started. You know, we had a double figure margin. We were ahead, and then Brooks Thompson got hit pretty good and ended up with a technical foul. And it kind of changed the game, and, you know, they rallied to win that ball game, and from then on they went undefeated, which I don't think anybody thought anyone could ever go undefeated in the Big 8, but they did.
Of course, we had that game here a couple of years ago when Country hit that miracle shot, so you never know what will happen with Missouri. But quickly, your team, you got to feel good about the way they're playing, especially two very tough opponents, and to play very good in those games.
The last two games we played probably about as well as we can play. And if you play at that level, we've got a chance to beat everyone. Now, if we don't, if we go back and start turning the ball over and giving up too many second shots and making dumb fouls and not using good shot selection, then you're going to be vulnerable to lose, because there aren't any weak teams in the Big 8, Bill. Everybody is good, and I'll be very surprised if we don't get as many as 6 teams in the NCAA tournament. And there's very little difference between any of the ball clubs, and if you're not on top of your game, you're going to get beat.
And, of course, you'd like nothing better than to have the fans as vocal on Sunday as they were on Monday night.
You know, normally you have an advantage playing on the road if you play in the afternoon, because the fans aren't quite as active and as loud. But I would hope that our fans will go to church and get out there Sunday afternoon and cheer us on to our second conference win and a defeat in Missouri. You know, they're ranked in the top 20.
And again, that's an unusual tip-off time. It is 12:40 on Sunday at Gallagher-Iba. Coach, best of luck to you. And for Coach Sutton, I'm Bill Teegins. We'll see you next week on the Eddie Sutton Show.